Okay, so we'll start the next session. Well, one question is there in the chat, quite a long one. Let me read it. I'm a person who is phobic to blood and internal organs naturally. Even looking at the sites of today's lectures made me uncomfortable. I tried anatomical parts meditation in the guided meditation session. It made me really uncomfortable to visualize them. So although I joined again and tried to continue it, feeling is the same. What can I do to overcome this? Is it okay if I skip this meditation as on anatomical parts? Well, yeah, everybody feels uncomfortable in the first run because the mind is not used to think the natural properties of the body. So I'm sure the first time you do, anyone would feel uncomfortable about the anatomical parts and its nature. It needs practice. So if you repeatedly do it for a few times, this feeling will go away. But there may be people having natural phobia to body parts. In that case, it's a medical condition. So in that case, you can avoid it. If that uncomfortable feeling is not going away with practice, there is something wrong in physically the mind, which may not be able to be corrected. In that case, you can decide to skip it. But one more thing, there is a topic coming later called concentration, where we discuss about samadhi, and if there is strong feelings of sensual desires in the mind, you can never reach samadhi states of the mind. So that will be the repercussion if if this particular meditation is skipped. The mind will never experience samadhi states. But choice is individual. So if you feel very uncomfortable after so many tries, so after practice, then you can do away with that. Also ask your mind that is anything that is said is wrong, or the properties that we observed, are they real properties or are they properties that we imagined? So slowly the mind will understand they are real. More and more you look at it, you will see they are real natural properties. So there is nothing to, there is no need to go against the nature. It is just to understand the nature. So will you be giving us personalized feedback on these guided meditation sessions? At the moment, no, but actually these guided meditation sessions, the reason for you to switch on the camera is for us to observe that whether you are on track. So since you all are on track, we found that today is much better than last time. You all did better. So individual feedback may not be required at this moment, but later on, from next week onwards, since the time is very limited, the finish of the course is coming, the marks have to be given for the practical sessions. Because the meditation is a mix of three things. One is meditation knowledge. Second is meditation skill. The third is the mental attitude towards meditation. So those have to be assessed, and we have to give marks about your practical sessions. Therefore, from next time, not today, we will be marking the practical sessions. So from next time, we'll be recording also for the purpose of marking, but we will not upload it for anyone because it includes your videos. So please keep practicing at home, because for meditation, the skill is the most important actually. One question is there. in walking meditation, should we walk slowly or naturally? Well, initially you must walk slowly until the mind is capable of capturing the present moment activities. When you walk naturally, you will never be able to do it, because with natural walk, you have already practiced thinking of a lot of other things while walking. That practice will come when you walk naturally at the start. After you have practiced this meditation for about a few months, sometimes maybe a year, you will be able to combine mindfulness with the natural walking. Not only natural walking, even when you are running, you will be able to be very mindful of every step, although it happens fast because of your practice. So initially, walk slowly, but don't walk too slow, because if you walk very slow, then you are giving space for the mind to think of other things. So that also should be avoided. Therefore, it should be it should not be very very slow. Right? It should be slow enough. That is the suggestion I can give. Okay. Now, since there are concerns about the previous meditation, I will deviate a little bit to give you an alternative for those who find that too difficult to start with. Maybe there is an alternative way, a bypass kind of thing, to come back to that meditation. So I will deviate a little bit to introduce that. Maybe that will work. I'm not sure. Uh, so we'll try, right? We'll try. In this particular meditation, I'm still on the anatomical parts then, so we will deviate a little bit. But we combine that with the natural properties of the food, not the body, but the food. When you say food, it's everything you eat, right? Which is including rice or those grains and vegetables, fruits, everything. We know that each and every part of our body is made up of food. So if we realize the properties of the food, maybe we realize the properties of the body as well. That is the logic behind this way of thinking. Let me go through it very quickly. This is a bit of a deviation, but it's good for those who find the previous one little uncomfortable. You can use this first. After you get sufficient practice on this, you can go back to that previous method and retry. Okay, this is the food. All kinds of food. You visualize that the trees come up from the earth, and finally the trees will bear grains, fruits, and vegetables, everything. Right? That you have seen. Therefore, it's easy to visualize. And you have seen the food available on the market. So in this picture, you can identify the food. Various kinds of food are everywhere here in this picture. You can identify what is food and what is not. I'll come back to this picture after showing you several slides. I will come back to this. Right? Okay. So when you consider these grains, fruits, vegetables appearing on the trees, you have seen what happens to them. They fall down. Suppose we forgot to plug them, they all fall down to the earth. And you have seen the decay process. The food will decay, they will discolor, they will have a very bad smell. Can you imagine? You have smelled it. So they have a bad smell when they decay. Actually, they rot. and that is the nature. And you have seen the food in this state, rotten state, with foul smell. And you can visualize their properties easily because you have had many experiences. Are there any particular food which give very sweet smell when they rot? Keep thinking, right? Okay, suppose we plug the harvest without allowing them to rot, and then assume that we store them. Even if you store, while in storage, they are decaying, they are discoloring. They may be in the racks in your house, but still you can't stop the food going through that process. Maybe you can delay it by refrigerating, but that process is happening, although when refrigerated it may slow down. Decaying process is on and forceful. Right? Suppose to stop the decay, if you cook them, and suppose the meal is there on the table, what if you forgot to eat? What if you forgot to eat and you have seen what happens, right? Uh, you have seen the dishes discolor, and the kind of foul smell the rice and the dishes give when they discolor and like this. Okay, they are still rotting, and by cooking also we could not stop it because it's the natural process that the food will undergo. Suppose to prevent that from rotting on the table, let us assume that we ate them, and while they are on the mouth, they get mixed with the saliva, and a kind of paste is there, and that is no better. That's also giving foul smell, and that's also rotting. Again, it's the nature. Suppose we swallowed the food, hoping that we can prevent the decaying process. We can't. While in the stomach also, it will be going through a process of a decay in such a way that there will be very foul smell, and they are unattractive, unpleasant. All those properties we discussed in the previous meditation will be there. Even in the intestines, it is the case. But suppose the food gets absorbed, energy of the food gets absorbed by the intestines, and food is converted to, but food will be converted to hair, bodily hair, flesh, and various things that you spoke about in the previous meditation. The food is being converted to that form. So hair is a kind of form of food. Food appears in the form of hair. Food appears in the form of skin. Food appears in the form of muscles. There is no part in the body which is not formed by the food. Therefore, body is made of nothing other than the food. Now, while the food is in the form of these bodily parts, can we stop the decay process? Can we stop the smell? Can we stop the foul smell? Can we make it sweet smell? Still we can't. The same decaying process continues while the food appears in the form of the body or bodily parts. So when I show you this figure again, now you can identify the food better, isn't it? Earlier you thought this is food and this is human. Not really. The human body is actually the food appearing in a different form, reappear in a different form, but irrespective of the form of the food, you can't stop it decaying. It's continuously changing, decaying, rotting, giving foul smell, unattractive, unpleasant, all that is there. So body is no special appearance of food. Same properties of the food is there in the body. even when the person dies, it's more visible then. The body is nothing other than food. Of course, it may be food for other animals as well. Right? Uh, the proof that it is food is that the other animals will come and eat all that flesh. And then we know this decay process of the body. These are the stages of decay process of the body. And finally, all the body parts will decay into pieces and mix with the nature again. After mixing with the nature, the same physical matter will be reappearing in the form of trees. The four elements will reappear in the form of trees and will bear fruit again, and will enter into the next cycle. What is the next cycle? Again, the food uh, will go through, will be plucked up by the people, and people will eat it, and body parts are made, and then when they die, the body parts are mixed with the nature again, and then it will reappear as trees again. So that's how the physical matter circulates. Therefore, it's a cycle. It's a cycle, food cycle we can call it. And the human body, your body, is one appearance or one stage of that cycle. Therefore, if there are certain properties that the food will, certain process that the food will undergo, your body will also have the same properties and will undergo the same process of decay. So that's another way of thinking. Right? Okay, shall we do that meditation also before we move on? So that those who feel uncomfortable with the previous one might feel okay with this. Right? So we'll take a little time uh, to do this meditation before we go forward, right? Okay, you can close your eyes. You don't need to switch on the video. Right? I will do it very quickly, but you can expand later if you want to adapt this. And in Pali, this particular meditation is called Ahara Patikula Sanya. Ahare Asubha Bhava. So close the eyes. Become aware of yourself. First, here I am. This is the body posture. I am right now sitting right here. And take the decision, I'm going to think of the food cycle. Okay, now visualize the trees coming up from the earth. All kind of trees arising from the earth, visualize. Now visualize them bearing food, bearing fruits, bearing grains, and bearing vegetables. Second mental volition. Third mental volition, visualize all of them unplucked, unharvested. They go back, they fall back on the earth again, and visualize the process of their decay, the discoloring, the foul smell coming, and the kind of creatures being attracted by the foul smell. Look at the food being rotten. They are unpleasant, unattractive, and impermanent, giving foul smell, not satisfactory. We would not like the food to rot like this. And that rotting process is not under my control. So the same properties you will see here. Okay, go to the next mental volition. Now think of the people plucking the harvest from the trees, not allowing them to rot, and then taking them to the market. and visualize, even in the market, those visualize those kind of food not bought by the people. Heaps of such food decaying and rotting in the backyard of the market. Visualize the unpleasantness, unattractiveness, foul smell, decaying process, unsatisfactory nature, and that decay not under your control. Now visualize people bought the food, brought home, and suppose they forgot to cook. Then on the racks, they are still going through the same rotting process. Visualize the discoloring, foul smell, unattractiveness it brings. And then visualize the impermanent nature, unsatisfactory nature, and rotting the food. You can't control. It's not under your control. You can't stop it or prevent it. Now, thinking that by cooking you can stop this process, if you thought like that, visualize the cooked food now, arranged on the table, on the dishes, and assume that you could not eat it, forgot to eat. Visualize the decay process on the table itself. You can smell that foul smell, unattractive, unpleasant nature of the food rotting on the table. Cooked food this time, even by cooking, you could not stop it. That is the nature. It is still impermanent even after cooking, still unsatisfactory, still it is not under your control. So if the cooking did not help, you can think, okay, people eat the food before it gets rotten. So visualize people eating, visualize them mixing with saliva, mixing with stomach acids within the stomach. So visualize the food in the stomach of living beings still unpleasant, unattractive, decaying, and unsatisfactory and not under your control. Now visualize the next step of the process where the food is attracted to the body, extracted to the body and converted to hair, bodily hair, flesh, and visualize all parts of the body, nails, skin, lungs, brain, and stomach, liver, and all those parts. And also visualize the bones, bone marrow, and visualize all the liquids in the body. They are all food, converted food into that form. Now visualize, has the properties changed? No, still that same unpleasantness, unattractiveness, that rotting process, unsatisfactory nature, and not in control. All those properties are there. They are the properties, the natural properties of food. And then also visualize that even if the person dies, visualize the dead body going through the decaying stages, initially becoming blue and sullen, and step by step, try to visualize. That is the natural process. Again, very unpleasant, unattractive. It's nothing other than food there. So natural properties of the food of unpleasantness, unattractiveness, foul smell, impermanence, unsatisfactory nature, and not having any control. All that is there, even the decaying dead body. Now visualize all those dead bodies of living beings completely mixing with the nature again, and those physical elements being converted to trees again, coming up from the earth, bearing fruit again, and that will be the next cycle. And then let the mind realize that irrespective of the state of the food has these properties. It is a natural set of properties, natural cycle. The body or body parts is just one stage of that natural cycle. Let the mind comprehend the whole cycle. And then slowly open the eyes. Okay, so that is another way to visualize the same properties. Since your scope has become broader than your body now, some of your minds will find this method easy to start with. After that, you can try, after some time of practice of this, you can try the other one, it might be okay. So these are different ways I'm suggesting to practice this meditation, but somehow be mindful that if this meditation is difficult, that means your mind loves the body too much, and sensual desires are too much. It's overdriving you, and therefore uh, the concentration, which we call samadhi, may be far, may be distant to that kind of a mind. So that is the repercussion of not practicing this meditation. But it's individual choice. Okay. One question. Let me read it. Sir, how do we control the feeling of excessive disgust towards worldly things after this meditation and bring the mind to middle path? Very good question. That's why I said initially, you are a neutral observer, unbiased neutral observer in this meditation. Not only this meditation, even the previous one. One of the guidelines is you observe the nature neutrally, in an unbiased manner. If you get biased towards yourself, you will miss the natural properties, and then this disgust will come. Excessive disgust will come, and that is not the correct way of doing the meditation. When you do this meditation, you will not have any excessive disgusting feelings. In fact, when you do it in the correct way, as an observer of the nature, and neutrally accepting what is being observed, uh, you will find this meditation is very peaceful meditation, and at the end of that meditation, your mind will be very relaxed. It's like you observed the nature silently and neutrally. So no sensible person will try to oppose the nature, isn't it? Rather than the neutral acceptance of what is there in the nature is what this meditation is. So if there is excessive disgustness, that means you have not observed it neutrally. You are very biased towards your body, and as a repercussion, the mental concentration, the samadhi or absorption, the dhyana kind of mental states will be far-reaching for such mind. So if any of you have a high level of disgusting feeling towards the end of this meditation, that means you have done the meditation in the wrong platform, wrong way. You need to correct the attitude and do it again. Attitude is a neutral observer of the nature, unbiased neutral observer of the nature. Okay, because the nature does not work always as we like. For example, we don't want the food to rot. We would like the fruit to remain fresh for any long time for us to eat later. But nature will not fulfill that expectation. That's how the nature works. It has its own agenda. It will go through its own agenda. And nature is so powerful, so forceful, and no meditator will try to go against it actually. The meditating mind will go with the nature, try to understand the nature and read the forcefulness of the nature into their minds. That is the idea of meditation, right? Okay, since we deviated a little bit from the main progression, we will be having a slight timing issue today. We might not be able to complete all meditations we planned. But let me introduce the next meditation quickly. We are still here. Right? Out of the 6 meditations, we have finished 4. And of course, the last one we barely touched in the previous meditation, the corpse decaying. I showed you a picture of different stages of corpse decay. So in that last meditation, the corpse decay stages are a little bit covered. So we might not do it separate as a separate meditation next. Let me introduce this one, 4-element meditation, which is the last one we will do under the mindfulness of the body. After that, we switch on to mindfulness of the feelings. So very quick introduction. This is again the nature. You can see the nebula, Milky Ways, far beyond. You have various things like this, matter. It's all matter, isn't it? Matter placed in the space, distant stars and everything in the galaxy. Even if you focus on one star, it's all matter again. Of course, a lot of heat there. Heat element is there. Air element is there in the nature. So in this particular meditation, we divide the nature into its basic elementary properties. There are only 4 elementary qualities of the nature. Body also is part of the nature. Therefore, same 4 elementary qualities are there in the body as well. Comparison of this meditation with the previous one is the previous contemplation of the anatomical parts covered only 2 of these 4 qualities, which is the solidity and liquidity. I will introduce these words in a moment. We covered only the solidity and liquidity of the body, but 2 other qualities we could not include into that meditation. Therefore, this particular meditation we are going to do is more complete because it considers all 4 elementary qualities of the body and all 4 elementary qualities of the nature as well. Okay, let me introduce the names of the 4 elements. Our purpose is to analyze and by decomposing the physical body into its 4 elementary qualities. Irrespective of the placement or the posture of the body, we just review the body as consisting of these fundamental elements or fundamental qualities. What are the names? Earth element is one, water element is the second one, fire element is the third, and the air element is the fourth. Let me give the names. The solidity, the quality of solidness is known as earth element. In Pali, it's called Patavi. Patavi, the earth element. Liquidity of the substances we try to perceive in the mind as water element. Water is just the example taken for liquidity. Liquidity is the actual quality. So in Pali, this is called apo. Then heat is the heat or temperature is the fire element. It's in Pali known as tejo. Motion is identified as air element. It's called vayo. So Patavi, apo, tejo, vayo are considered as the four elementary qualities of nature. So because body is also part of nature, the four elementary qualities can be observed within this body, within the body, physical body. Earth element actually represent the quality of hardness or softness. Hardness or softness. Water element represent wetness or dryness. Fire element, hotness or coldness. Air element represent the degree of motion or degree of freedom for motion. These are the meanings of the four words: earth element, water element, fire element, and air element are not actually physical things, they are qualities of physical things. Right? These are the qualities represented by these four words. So what do we contemplate in this meditation? We contemplate of the body parts, solid parts, liquid parts of the body. Solids and liquids actually we discussed in the previous meditation also. We found certain solid parts like bones and organs in the body. Liquid parts like urine, blood and everything. In addition to that, the body has heat and body has space also. And body has a lot of activities happening, digestion, breathing, and that is motion. A lot of physical activities happening. The air representing the quality of motion can be done by directing awareness to different movements that take place within your body, like circulation of the blood is air element. That activity is pushed or forced by the air element, breathing activity, food digestion, perspiration, and so many natural activities. They are all representing the air element of the body. All kind of motions that happen within the body. So these are the representative figures of the four elements: earth element, water element, air element, and fire element. Earth, water, air, and fire are physical, but these words do not represent physical things. They represent qualities. You might have studied the subject called properties of materials. Materials are tangible, physical things. Properties are not tangible. Right? So this is like properties. Although these physical elements like fire, earth, water, and air is used to give the name to the quality itself is not a physical thing. So we visualize our body, visualize as our body as consisting of the four elements. That is what this meditation is doing. The solid part of the body, the hardness, you can visualize like this. Hardness of the body, which is the earth element. Then water content, all the liquids of the body represent the water element. Fire element, all that body heat. Air element, all the body movements. So irrespective of how the body is placed, how the body is disposed, this body will consist of the four elements, the four elementary qualities, as those that exist in the outside Outside also we have these four elements. Inside also we have these four elements. So what is the difference between the earth element inside the body and the earth element outside the body? Water element inside the body and water element outside the body. What is the difference? You know, water is a cycle. The water you drink today will not be in your body by tomorrow. Okay, and it's a cycle. It's a cyclic thing. So we notice that the water element outside and the water element inside are actually same water element. Same water element in a cyclic manner. Same way the fire element, earth element, you can visualize. Okay, maybe we skip the break, isn't it? Let us have 10 minutes break from here. After that, we will continue on this meditation. We might not have time to go to the next level of mindfulness of the feelings today. So we will try to finish this meditation after the break. Okay, have a short break and come back.